Welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business. On this show, we break down the concept of business to its simplest form. I am Moremi, Akano. On today's episode, we will be exploring the business angle of health and safety. Our guest is a certified health, safety and environment practitioner with consistent years in HSE administration, operations, training, and consulting. She is a certified first aider, certified UK project manager, and a member of many recognized HSE professional and technical bodies, including IOSH, PECB, amongst others. She is the managing director of Jadegate Nigeria Limited, a one-stop HSE and human resource consulting firm. Our guest is Jadesola Lagoke. Thank you for joining us on the show today, Jadesola.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to Ladies Talking Business. Okay, so I know health and safety is broad, but can you just briefly tell us what it entails?
Okay, health and safety is basically the principles, rules, regulations that you put in place to prevent an accident or occurrence of accidents, and also identifying those hazards and risk involved in organizations, environment around you, your home. That's basically what it entails. Okay.
Do we have, quality health, environment laws or policies in Nigeria? Okay.
Yes, we do. Nigeria is becoming more aware of health and safety, though policies have been there before now. But I think considering the last pandemic, I think we're still in the season of COVID. Now people are getting more aware with health and safety. But there are factory acts. There's Factory Act 2004. There's the Lagos State Safety Commission, which was published and even put out there 2011. There are a lot of acts, but it's not about having these acts or legal back into it. Is are we really following them, as it were? So that's basically what it is. There are a lot of acts. There's the Employee Compensation Act in Nigeria. There's the First Aiders Act, whereby you have to have a first aid box in your organization. There's the PPE Usage Act that has to do with...
This sounds so strange to me because I didn't know we had all these things.
We have all this. We have them in our constitution even. But are they really... Do we put them to use?
Yes, but we don't know these things.
I think we as safety practitioners, or would I say safety experts, we also have a part to play. I think more awareness. Also the government, the safety bodies, safety regulation bodies, we should play a part by informing people. There should be more of communication to people. A lot of people just knows that safety is safety, everybody's business. That's what. So far, I'm safe, but there are practical responsibilities that you have to do in your environment, and these are things that we need to make people more aware of. I think we're not doing our jobs.
So you're talking about the safety professional.
Safety professional, but can we really have that safety? Do we really have that reach? I think the government should help us to do better, because they have reach to people, they have the press, they have a lot of people. So if we all take responsibilities to both as safety professionals and also as persons and add value to people by communicating safety, making it a norm, our education system has to put in safety, maybe we would have a better Nigeria.
Talking about the educational system, it's really important. But before we talk about that, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think Nigeria is in terms of health and safety?
Well, I mean, we want me to be honest.
Yes, I want you to be honest.
Okay,
I mean,
so I'm not going to put sarcasm into it and say...
No, like honesty. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are we on this scale in Nigeria?
This is my line of business, and I wouldn't want to... Should I be nice here?
Okay, well, when me asking you to talk about it, I'm not asking to bash your people in the business.
I'm going to be honest, because I'm a very honest person. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, we are just like 2.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and that's because people have not even accepted it. We as safety professionals, we are facing a whole lot. Organizations will tell you, let's say a conglomerate will tell you a safety professional cannot be a CEO. That's because a lot of people don't like us. And I'm going to say that in basic terms. People don't like to take safety laws. They believe safety is expensive. And one of the things I've said is, if you feel safety is expensive, try accidents. And so you see the difference. If you feel education is expensive, try ignorance. And most of the time, one of the challenges is convincing people that we're actually doing it for your own good. If you are safe, it's for you. It's not just us alone. We are doing our jobs, but we are trying to also educate you that you have to be safe. Even PPE usage, people find it very difficult to use PPEs.
PPEs are for people in the medical field,
yes,
right?
PPE, not just medical fields. It's just like your nose masks, personal protective equipment, your nose masks, your hand gloves, sanitizer. Even sanitizer is more of like the medical PPE now, because it's a form of protection for us. And some of these things are very difficult to convince people. An engineer that has been working for 10 years in a factory, you tell him, put on your coverall, put your helmet, and he tells you, I've been working here for 10 years, I've not died. So why will you tell me, who are you, and how are you sure that it's not that day that you get to fall and you don't have your harness belt or your helmet and your family loses you? These things are things we keep telling people because they feel it's a norm. So now it's more like making people understand that safety should be part of you. Pick it from the basis, from the education system, from the primary schools, secondary schools. There should be awareness, there should be jingles, there should be songs that make people understand that when this becomes part and parcel of them.
Yeah. So. Okay, I know we have more to say on this, but we'll take that right after the break. So we will go on a short break now. Please stay with us. I'm still here with Jadesola Lagoke, a qualified health, safety and environment personnel and the managing director of Jade Gate Limited. So Jade, I've done my certification. I'm now a professional in the HSC field. How can I make money in this field? Okay,
I'm going to break it down to you. Safety is value-oriented business, but there's also the business part of safety. We have several sectors, and I'm going to give you divisions. We have being an auditor, which will fetch you a lot of money. Being a safety auditor is, people look for you, basically, because there are some organizations that require safety audits. Being a trainer, a certified trainer, you become like a public speaker. People want to hear more. We have oil and gas organizations. We have the food production companies. We have, every organization needs health and safety, so you are required one way or the other.
But do people know this? I don't think people know this.
I think now with, like I said, we are becoming more familiar with safety now, and considering what happened last year, 2020, with COVID, people are becoming more aware of health and safety, even though it was an issue before now to tell people to write their safety policies or quality policies. It was very difficult for organizations. But now, knowing that if you are safe, even health and safety is not just only, there's a medical part of it that has to do with your personal well-being, and understanding that you are valuable. I tell people, we've not explored 10% of it in Nigeria.
Wow.
And so you can have a lot of opportunities. And if you are going to break it down to specializations, you could be a first aider, you could be a fire warden, you could be a fire trainer, you could have consulting. Consulting is one very huge, even being an advisory personnel to people as well. So it's really, really broad. You can also manufacture, produce PPE, procure PPE for organizations, also sales of PPE. So if I speak about the business of safety, I don't think we'll leave here today. It's really wide.
Jade, so we've just spoken about the possible business opportunities in this field. So let's talk about the industries that need to be health and safety compliant.
Okay. When you say industry,
industries, so businesses.
You need to be health and safety compliant.
Every business.
Every business. Every business. So it's not particular to maybe the oil and gas or food industries. Pharmacy. No, everybody has to be health and safety. I was coming in here, I was giving sanitizer. That's health and safety compliance. I was coming in here, I was told, we'll check your temperature. That's health and safety compliance. It starts from that. It starts from coming to your organization and seeing your safety policy. Everybody, safety is everybody's business. So I asked a layman one day, he said, am I my brother's keeper? That was what he asked me. But reality is, if something, let's imagine there's a fire outbreak. Your house is at number 1 and the house burning is number 2. If you had a fire extinguisher, you will save both your house and the house burning. So you have to be safety conscious. So everybody, homes, industries, from the small woman that sells on the road, should know that she needs to have a fire extinguisher.
Really?
Yes, she should have a first aid box in her office. Anything can happen, and you have to be safety ready because you don't know when it will happen. It's like you leave your house and, there's this thing we started training children on, all for the appliances, make sure you put this off, security awareness based on the security issues now in Nigeria, make sure you do more of safety. But the reality, it starts from the home. Before you get into your organization.
If you're saying it starts from the home, how about the caregivers or the parents at home? They have no clue.
That's what I'm saying. We as safety professionals, we are not doing our jobs fully. And now I'm trying to lend a voice to tell people more of safety. Now, it might not really come with the business sense of it, but like I always tell people, when you add value, money would come naturally. A lot of people don't still understand that. An average boy will wake up in the morning and say, how can I make money? He's making the biggest mistake of his life.
So what should the question be?
Where can I add value? The money would chase you. People are chasing Mark Zuckerberg. People are chasing a lot of rich people now because they're adding value. So naturally, if you are adding value, money would come.
Interesting. If you're adding value, money will come. I hear this a lot, so it means it must be true.
Yes, and people are getting more aware of that. I think since you said you heard that, a lot of people are saying it, people are beginning to tell people, you just need to add value. But are people really doing that? It's not about just hearing it. Are we doing it? We have get-rich schemes, a lot of get-rich schemes. People are not ready to take the process. An average young Nigerian just wants to flex and enjoy themselves and move on. But there's a process. If you don't take the process, you would come back to it. Just like the heart of every business is marketing. Everybody runs away from marketing. So how do we grow the business?
Interesting.
Which is really important. Everybody, I don't want to go market. But forgetting that marketing is not about you wearing your vest and going out on the streets. You could be in your home and give content and still market. So it starts from you, it starts from me.
Interesting. It starts from us.
Yes.
Okay, so talking about businesses, what are some of the steps a business must take to be HSE compliant?
Okay, some of the requirements for organizations is you need to have a safety policy and water safety policy so that people can drive into that policy. Quality policy as well. Then safety starts from your safety signages when you come in. If they should use handrails, if they are supposed to press the alarm bell. One of the things we do is we give this safety induction whenever you come to our organization, and that's because we want you to understand that you are here now. You should know what applies here. So we have an exit door, we have the muster points, we have fire extinguishers here, we have extra rooms.
Sorry, talking about fire extinguishers, when you just mentioned fire, I know that ideally abroad, they usually have fire drills in most organizations, but I've never seen that being done.
Funny enough, a lot of organizations do fire drills. People that are safety conscious.
But do they actually go out? Because if you're doing a fire drill abroad, people would go out to the point, the gathering, the muster point where people are meant to gather. I haven't seen that.
There are two types of fire drill. The one whereby you inform the workers, the management that you're going to have a fire drill, so people are aware. And the one where you don't inform. So I'm going to give you a very short story. I was performing a fire drill. We didn't inform people. And I will tell you that the safety manager was the first person jumping the fence. So imagine that situation. He trains safety every day. Oh, when we have it, gather at the muster point, assembly point. But the next thing is, I saw him and he was, and he was outside. He had just gone. And the reality is, these drills is just for people to know that these things can actually happen. So most of it, when we want to have those drills, I always tell them, let it be unconsciously. Let people break their heads. Let them see that you can actually break your heads. You see people say, move away from the road, let me go. And people are trying to struggle through a confined space. And there's also fire drills for even the less privileged, like the disabled person. Somebody that is disabled doesn't mean he can't do his job. So you could have a blind person. There are staircases for. So they need to know that this is the way you can take. This is the way
you go. Okay. So we've been talking since, and I'm sure you can tell that I'm a bit more interested, apart from the business angle, I'm a bit more interested in how to sensitize people. So in your own opinion, how can we put this out there for everyone to begin to know about the importance and benefits of health and safety?
Okay, one, I think we need to inform people more.
So how do we do that?
It starts from your house.
From the household?
Starts from your child. Tell your child, this is what you should do at home. Put off appliances before leaving. Train your child how to use a fire extinguisher. Train your child how to administer first aid. You as a parent has a part to play. Then from the schools, I think I was discussing with some persons and I said, we have, in secondary schools, I stand to be corrected though, we have about 15 subjects we take.
Between 15 to 17?
So we have these 15 subjects, and please can you tell me which one covers health and safety? We have PHE, which is physical health education. But the only thing they teach us is how to drive volleyball, tennis.
How to jump,
and
basically keep fit.
Yeah, which is really good, no doubt. It's part of health and safety. But the real safety, security awareness, and first aid systems, these things are not taught. And these are things that we should imbibe into our curriculum. It's important for every child to know that health and safety is like you are keeping yourself. We have a lot of accident cases that wouldn't have led to death.
If only
If people were
savvy.
there. So this is a challenge from the school. Then government has a lot to do. Posters, wherever you go to, beans. We have a lot of bodies here. We have LASEMA, we have LASMA, we have FRSC, we have the Safety Commission. All these people should come together, organize programs, let people know that, yes, safety. Pick our transports, our road transport system, pick them and tell them, do this, because those are people that more people are familiar with. And we know that a lot of people, nothing like safety. So let's start from the room.
I agree, I completely agree. Well, please stay with us for more of these conversations after the break. You're still watching Ladies Talking Business on PlusTvAfrica with Jadesola Lagoke of Jade Gate Limited. Okay, so I was going to talk about introducing it to schools, but we've just spoken about that. So would you say from primary level or from secondary level? Okay,
I personally, I am trying to play my part. Sometimes this year we'll be training 100 secondary schools in Lagos.
Wow.
And that's just because...
100 secondary schools?
Yes, 100 secondary schools in Lagos, both public and private schools. And that's because we wanted to see how we can start. Okay, since the government is not doing it, it should start from primary schools. I think our primary 5, primary 6, or the primary 5, the basic 5, basic 6, they are familiar. They can use tabs, they can use gadgets. Definitely, these children are really, really intelligent. But because you've not really expose them to that. So it should start from our primary schools.
I think I agree. So let's move to the first aid bit, because I think this is more everyday, talking about first aid. So what are the basics of first aid that you think even every child should know about?
Okay, let me start by saying first aid is the first treatment you give someone before taking them to the hospital. Okay. So you need to understand that administering first aid doesn't mean you're a doctor. So a lot of people mix it up with, oh, since I'm now a first aider, I can save a life. Yes, you save a life, but you still need to take them to the hospital so that the medical practitioners can do their jobs. Now, basic first aid starts from awareness. And when I mean awareness, I mean you should know emergency numbers to start with. You should be able to perform CPR. Yes, CPR I'm going
to that CPR bit, but yeah.
Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. You should be able to identify emergency situations, know the difference between an asthmatic patient and even though children might not be so familiar with that, being that, when you are sick or you're a casualty, you can't really express yourself based on the illness. But starting from the basic, awareness, they should know they can call people. There's the 767 in Lagos that you can call, but a lot of people don't know these numbers. We have a lot of call numbers. We have 199 in Lagos that you can call. These are emergencies, just like the 911 in the US. And these are things we can, first, awareness, then two, know that the next thing after a casualty is not you picking up your phones to take pictures.
Very important. So, very important.
So it's important for you to know that at least let me see what I can do before it gets worse. So someone might just need you to perform CPR, not to die. and you leave that person, and the person ends up dying.
So before I even talk about CPR, let me tell you about my own basic knowledge of first aid from when I was in school. Especially when you have a cut. What I was taught, or what I grew up doing, is applying disinfectant to open wound.
Really? So when I ask people now, what should be in your first aid? Well, people tell me, you should put spirit, you should put this. But now there's a lot technology has done. And don't forget, being a first aider, we will even follow the process. There are principles of first aid boxes and all that. You just have to be proactive. For that time, you have to be tactful, just for you to improvise. Just make sure
staying calm, right?
Yes.
Because I think it's important to be
just
calm.
make sure that it's something that it's not going to cause more harm. Because you might be saving someone's life and you're even killing the person if you are not careful. So, but you have to improvise. At that time, the major priority is saving the life. So there are several things that you can actually use rather than putting disinfectant. So don't put disinfectant. Okay, try not
to a wound, to a cut.
Try not to put that to stop it. There are several things you can do. I don't have so much time to explain everything, but there are a lot of things you can do when it comes to first aid. Okay,
so talking about CPR, I watched a video very, very recently. I think a man was with his friends, and maybe they were boxing or something, and he started having maybe a heart attack or something. I really can't remember. But one thing I can remember that stood out was his friend I don't think he was a healthcare practitioner or anything, but he was administering CPR, and he saved his life. And everyone was like, oh, how did he know what to do? How did he know to do that? So let's talk about CPR. At what point do you administer CPR to a patient or a victim?
CPR, you administer when you have an unconscious person. It has to do with compressions. CPR has both the learner's level and the advanced level. And that has to do with defibrillators and all the things that you can help life. But it's basically when the person is unconscious. You can't perform CPR on someone that has a broken leg and say, okay, they said we should perform CPR, so let's just go ahead and bounce on you. So you're only going to, I'm sure if the person is like some of our mothers slap you at that time, just to make sure that at least you get some sense into you. But the reality is basically for when you're unconscious. And CPR has saved. The video you're talking about, I watched it too, and I was so happy about the video because now people will see, at least it was a way of telling people that you need to know these things. So an average child should definitely be taught CPR on how to administer CPR. If I had the time, I would have been able to show you processes to which you can administer CPR. But CPR is as important as you being the next lifesaver. So imagine that guy, he didn't administer CPR.
His friend would have died.
His friend would have died. So it's very important. Some people choke. Some people have, what's the name, IBP. And so what they just need is CPR to keep them. Not even their drugs at that time because they are unconscious. Someone that's just drowned, what it needs is CPR.
They normally press. I see people pressing people's tummies when they're drowned, and I'm like, is that the way to go about it?
Nigerians are trying. And the reality is, our cultures, press it.
Press. For the water to come.
Something happens to you. If you have convulsion, give him palm oil.
In the case of a fire, I've heard all manner of things. In the case of a fire, so if you have, put salt. I'm like, isn't that going to do more? Than good?
An average Nigerian has a lot of philosophies, and because we are tribalistic people and we have
palm oil,
traditional,
you put egg on a burn,
there are
and I'm like,
several processes to it. Though some burns might need ice, basically, but it's not you putting egg or
salt.
Putting salt. There are several things you can do differently, but it still boils down to educating people.
Yes, so we need to educate people, and people need to get trained on even the basics.
Everybody, every mother or father needs to learn about first aid because it starts from that. That's like the basics of safety.
I agree. I definitely agree. Jadesola, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
And thank you for having me.
Yes, you're welcome. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to be giving you a basic method on CPR, which is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So what we train people is you use the Dr. ABCD. Dr. ABCD, D-R-A-B-C-D. D stands for danger, R stands for response, A stands for airways, B stands for breathing, and C compression. C comes for compression, and D for defibrillator. Now, first thing you need to check is you're sure that around you there's no danger in that environment. So first thing is to check for danger. So I think we've cleared the danger around here. And the next thing is R, which is response. You need to be sure. You could give a clap or something to show if the person can hear you. So, or if you know the person's name, you could call the name and confirm if he can hear you. And so if he can hear you, now you've checked for response. The next thing is to check the airways now. And airways, you have to clear the airways. So you tilt the head over. That's just like that, physically, just to be sure that the airways is cleared. Afterwards, then you check for breathing. So you can give your head the lower part of your head and check if the person is breathing, just like that. Then the person is not breathing, then we have to perform CPR, which is compressions. For an adult, you use 30 compressions to 2 breaths. 30 compressions to 2 breaths. So you're going to be on the sternum of the person's chest. Can we go ahead? So you have it like this. Can we see this? You have it like this, and we go on 1 to 30. So we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And you have 2 breaths. So you have to breathe the mouth to mouth. So now you can use, if you have a tissue, maybe you don't know the person based on emergency, you can use a tissue and clean the mouth. Then you have 2 breaths. So you go and 2. Then if the person doesn't respond, you still continue again, another 30 compression to 2. For kids, so we have 15 compressions to 2 breaths. And for babies, for kids, let's say within the age of 8 to 10, you have 15 compressions to 2 breaths. And for babies, but for children lower than 8, you have just 1 finger, just one arm here to give the compression. So you have 15 to 2 breaths. And for babies, you have just your 2 fingers, just 2 fingers at the chest to give the compression. And afterwards, just in case, you could be performing CPR, you've not gotten up to 30 compressions and the person cough. Then you tell me, no, the lady said we should perform 30. And you continue and say, die again, just die, and let's continue. That's not the way you go about it. So you could be on the 5th compression and the person comes back. So you have to put the person in recovery position. This is a dummy. I would have showed you how to put the person in recovery position to be sure that the person doesn't go back into being unconscious. Thank you.
So thanks for joining us today on this health and safety episode of Ladies Talking Business. Do join us this same time next week for another episode. Do follow us on PlusTvAfrica Lifestyle on YouTube for more. I'm Moremi Akano. Bye for now.